A lot of you have been asking about my camera and microphone setup, and while I don't mind answering individually, I thought it would be more efficient to make video about it. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about the setup that I use on my bike, and I've divided this video into 3 parts. So first I will talk about the camera that I'm using, then I will talk about the microphone that I'm using, and lastly I will talk about the settings that I use in post-production. For the camera, I use the DJI Osmo Action 4. I wanted a solid action camera without too many bells and whistles, just something reliable that could help me shoot cinematic footage. Since I rarely ride at night, low light performance wasn't a priority, nor was a 360-degree camera. And while I appreciate their capabilities, I use one for work, I am personally more in favor of the traditional wide-angle view. So I needed to buy a good all-round action camera that wasn't too expensive, because I also wanted to buy a microphone and other gear as well. After doing a lot of research, watching YouTube videos, reading reviews, I landed on the DJI Osmo Action 4. And honestly, I'm really happy with it. For me, it ticks all the boxes for creating cinematic Moto footage. I briefly considered buying the Osmo Action 5 instead of the Osmo Action 4. But after seeing and reading that there were problems with the HDR imaging of the Osmo Action 5 and factoring the price, the huge price difference between the two cameras, I opted to buy the Osmo Action 4. I also picked up some extra batteries for the Osmo Action 4 because this thing eats through batteries like there is no tomorrow. So if you're considering buying an action camera like this one, please consider buying some extra batteries as well. I also use DJI's ND or neutral density filters, which acts like sunglasses for your camera. Now, these ND filters help prevent overexposure and give you more flexibility in post-production, especially for color grading. I usually run an ND16 even on cloudy days and switch to ND32 when it's very sunny outside. And only in the winter with overcast Belgian skies, I usually go without an ND filter. I mostly mount the camera on my helmet using DJI's own chin mount. It works perfectly for me. It fits both my helmets, is easy to switch between them, and gives me the best angle for what I'm going for. Occasionally I'll mount the camera on my bike, for example on the handlebars or crash bars to get alternative angles, but 90% of the time it's on my chin. I try to capture as much footage as possible and actually only switch off the camera when I'm riding on highways. Especially on unfamiliar routes, you never know when you'll hit that perfect corner or scenic view. And I'd rather cut out the boring bits later than miss something great. Plus, turning the camera off and on messes with the microphone connection. And I hate stopping mid-ride to troubleshoot my equipment. Let's go over the most important settings. I shoot in 4K 16:9 at 25 FPS. I have rock-steady stabilization turned on. I know that some people prefer using gyroflow in post for slightly better results, but I don't like the hassle of multiple renders, and rock-steady works well enough for me. And I actually don't mind a bit of natural shake. It adds realism. But I'm using the basic rock-steady to avoid too much of the cropping. So if we go to the more advanced settings, we'll see that the exposure is set to manual and the shutter speed is set to 1/50th to follow the 180-degree rule, which basically means that the shutter speed should be 2 times the frame rate. And this creates that cinematic motion blur that we are looking for. The ISO is set between 100 and 800 to give the camera some flexibility without risking overexposure. White balance is set to 5500K. Color profile obviously is set to D-Log for color grading in post-production. FOV is set to standard. Image adjustments I have set to custom. The sharpness on -2 and the noise reduction at -1. To me, capturing great audio is just as important, if not more important, than capturing great video. Especially if you're running an aftermarket exhaust like I am, the sound is half the experience. Since I was already in the DJI ecosystem, buying a DJI mic made most sense to me. Besides, I was already using those microphones at work and I was already impressed with the sound quality and ease of use. I chose the DJI Mic Mini over the DJI Mic 2 for two reasons. The first is that it fits easily inside my helmet thanks to the metal base plates I installed. And once in place, I barely notice it's there. The second is the price. These are extremely well priced for the quality that they deliver. And since I also needed to buy the camera and other gear, this was a unique selling point for me. The Minis don't offer 32-bit float or internal storage, but I don't need either. I just connect them via Bluetooth to the Osmo Action 4 and the 16-bit audio is good enough for me. While I sometimes wish there was a bit more headroom in the dynamic range, the output is generally solid. I also use these microphones for shooting off-bike videos like this one. And when I shoot with a DSLR, I use the receiver instead of the Bluetooth connection. More important than the microphone itself for shooting Moto videos is where you place the microphone. And so here's what I do, right? So I'm using two dead cats. One small one that came with the DJI mic and one bigger one that I bought off of Amazon. And this combination goes inside the right hand pocket of my backpack, so the pocket that sits on the side of the exhaust. This setup blocks most wind noise, rattling or seat movement, and it took a lot of trial and error, but for me this works best. Yes, it still picks up unwanted noise, but I delete most of that in post-production, which you'll see a little bit later. The beauty of the Mic Mini is that they are almost plug and play. Still, here are the settings I use, all managed through the Action 4. So we go over the settings for the microphone by going to the menu and then settings and then going into the wireless microphone. Here we see that the microphone is connected. The monitor volume is set to 50. I'm not using any monitoring, so that's fine. I have the LED turned on. I have got the low cut set off because I prefer the clean audio or as much audio as possible to be captured, and I clean up everything in post-production anyway. I leave auto powered off because I don't want it shutting off randomly, and I like to have as much control over the microphone as possible. So under the microphone settings, which we can find over here, we see that the transmitter gain is set to -12, which is basically as low as it goes, and it's still very loud, almost too loud, but usually it's just barely enough to capture the audio without clipping. And noise reduction is set to off, again because I want to handle everything noise related in post-production. So explaining the full editing process is a little bit behind the scope of this video, but I'll quickly run you through the basics of what I do here in Adobe Premiere Pro, which is the software that I'm using for my video editing. I opened a recent video that I did on the DJI 2025 just to show what I'm doing. So for color correction, I mainly use two adjustment layers. I know that you can use one adjustment layer to do everything in, but for some reason I use two. The first one I'm using for basic correction, like setting the exposure value, contrast, highlights, etc. Just to create a sort of neutral looking video as a sort of base layer. And then the second layer I'm using not for basic correction, but for my creative correction, and which is mainly applying a lookup table. In this instance, I'm using the Sunset Rip LUT from Moto fields. I'll leave a link in the description of this video. Of course, you can also use other LUTs if you want, but I'm mainly using the ones from Moto fields and sometimes also the ones from Fuji as well. So if we go over to the audio section, I'm mainly using three plugins. The first one is a graphic equalizer that I'm using to add in some lows and some highs, and I'm already deleting some of the unwanted noise here at 250 Hz and 1K Hz. And this for me just sets a sort of basic layer in the audio editing. And then going one step further, I'm applying a denoise set at 5%. I noticed that if I put this higher than 5%, the audio gets really unnatural sounding, and we don't want that, of course. But at 5%, it cuts out all the wind noise and the rattles very nicely. So this works for me. And then lastly, I'm using a hard limiter set at -2.5 dB. And this is just mainly used as a precaution to prevent further clipping, if that is possible. So yeah, those are my basic steps that I do in video and audio editing. I know that there are more advanced users who create their own lookup tables or color correction steps, etc. I don't have the time for that, nor am I an advanced user. So these steps, they work well enough for me, and I hope that they work for you as well. So there you have it, my video and microphone setup in a nutshell. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any more questions, or if you'd like to see more of these types of videos, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.